I was a very shy, very scared, hated public speaking, wanted to not be seen. And this work kind of helped me to overcome a whole lot of fears and find my voice. A lot of women, especially I think with autoimmune issues, we're not able to speak our truth or feel safe speaking our truth or showing up or being seen. And even like travel, I was terrified of international travel. And because of this work, I've been to Kenya, I've been to Bulgaria, I've been to Prague. Like it pushed me out of my comfort zone in so many ways.
Welcome to the Butterfly Event Podcast. I'm your host, Heather Hewett, double board certified traditional naturopath with over 21 years of experience in naturopathy, clinical nutrition, and health. I'm also thrilled to share that I'm on the brink of becoming a certified trauma somatic coach, which will add a dynamic new layer to our conversations about healing. My co-host, Martha Charneski, who's been the head of research and product development for the past 11 years for a 100% natural wellness company. She's an entrepreneur and an advocate for holistic health and wellness with over 20 years experience in nutrition, acupuncture, medicinal herbs, and 8 years with lymphatic drainage, somatic work, and massage therapy. She's also been a dear friend of mine since 2007. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcast as well. So take a deep breath and let's begin or continue your journey towards emotional freedom, one episode at a time. So I'm really excited to introduce Dr. Laura Ricci. She is a licensed doctor of physical therapy specializing in women's health and pelvic floor rehabilitation. She's also a national board certified health and wellness coach and an essential oil educator and leader with doTERRA essential oils. Through her own medical challenges, including cancer and major orthopedic surgery, she found a passion for natural remedies, neuroplastic pain, and weightlifting. Dr. Laura educates about essential oils and other health and wellness topics for women on her Instagram page at Dr. Laura Richie. She strives to be a light in the darkness. She's a lot of fun. She brings a lot of joy. She inspires others. She offers hope for others for their personal story of healing. And she lives with her husband, Mark, in Amarillo, Texas, where she loves reading, being an auntie, and doing pull-ups in the cave with the guys. You can learn more about Dr. Laura and her services by visiting her website at drlauraricci.com. So let's get started. Hi, everyone. So I'm here with my co-host, Martha, and Dr. Laura. So we're introducing Dr. Laura. She is somebody that I have been following on social media, and I actually met her through a friend. She was a recommended doctor, and I've learned so much from her. We always want to have people that are, into this health and wellness space, but actually practice what they preach, so to speak. And Dr. Laura is somebody, she's one of the most positive people I've ever met in my life. Very giving. Everything is about, helping others and mirroring, hey, life can be tough sometimes, but when we work together, we uplift each other, we see it as an opportunity for growth, we can come back even stronger. So did I represent you well, Dr. Laura, when I said that?
You did. I'm honored. Truly.
Okay,
Thank you.
Great. That's awesome. So we always want to start off with an icebreaker question because sometimes interviews can be so let's kind of break the ice, right? So if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
This is such a good question. And I had to think about it for a while. I got really serious. I was like, oh man, there's so many amazing superpowers out there. But I think I would like the power of teleportation. Like have a
Oh,
little sling ring and just woo, and go to Hawaii or like go wherever you want.
yes, yes, yes. I love that. I tell you, I'm kind of laughing inside because just the other day I was talking with a friend. She'd just come back from a long trip. She says, I'm so happy I'm back in my bed, but I kind of want to be back there. I said, don't you wish you could teleport? You can go anywhere you
Yes.
want in the world at any time, but then I can be back in my bed each night and then teleport back to where I was and be back in my bed. I mean, that'd be awesome,
Magic.
right? That's so cool.
Yes, that's the dream.
Yeah.
I feel like that's all our husband's dream too, because my husband loves going out of town, but he loves the bed. You know what I mean? He's like, I want my
Yes.
bed.
There's no
Yeah,
place
right?
like home. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I can come back, take my shower, bed, and teleport back wherever. That'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
We're here
That's
for it.
awesome. That's awesome. So, what is your biggest passion?
Reminding women of their power.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And that comes
Yeah.
through on your social media.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, because I think somewhere along the way we lose sight of that. And we just need that reminder that we are strong, that we've
Yes.
overcome a lot of stuff in our past and we can get through this too. And that's my love language is reminding women of their power.
Yes. And that, I think that's one of the things that I'm really attracted to you about too, because I'm all in, as Martha knows, and she is the same way, where we want to uplift other women. That's one of the things that attracted me to Martha, because when I met her, she was like that, and I was like,
Mm.
"Wow, this is exactly the type of friend I want," because I'm all about that. Not just saying, "Hey, I'm powerful," but you're powerful too. Let's be powerful together. I mean, let's be Powerpuff Girls, whatever. I mean, that is exactly my vibe. So I
Yeah.
love that. That's so beautiful.
I had one thing that I noticed on your Instagram because I've been following you, just so you know, not stalkery creepy.
We're
I
here
just
for
thought,
it.
okay, Heather recommended it. And I was like, okay, a friend of Heather's is going to be a friend of mine. And I loved what you posted on the weightlifting. And you said, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And you said, the magic you are waiting for is in the work you are avoiding. Do it afraid. Ready is a lie. And I was like, that goes exactly with what you just said. I love it. Making
Yes.
us feel like we can overcome those fears or do it while we're afraid. I think that's what people hesitate, Fear
Yeah.
is paralyzing, but when you say, you know what, I
Mm.
can do this, I got this, and we take that one little step, we're getting there.
Yes.
Martha, that is so crazy. You brought that up. That is my favorite quote of hers that she's put on there. And you picked that one.
See, we do think alike.
And I
Yes.
didn't come up with that. I had read that somewhere or saw that somewhere. The magic that you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. And I thought, oh, that's good. Because you're right. So many times we think, well, we're not ready yet. Once I'm gonna get ready to do the thing, or once I'm not afraid of it, or whatever. And what I found is you really just have to stare your dragons in the face and go for it. And when you do that, shaking and feeling like you're going to puke and all the things is when you realize that it's not as scary as we were making it up in our mind
Right.
to feel,
You've
because a
made
lot of
that
people feel that
dragon.
discomfort, like, oh, and they're like, oh, it's not safe, like I need to back off. And I'm like, no, that's when you need to put the the foot on the pedal and like just keep going forward.
That's so
Exactly.
true.
All right. So can you tell us, Laura, do you like Dr. Laura or Dr.
You can
Ricci?
call me Laura. You can call me whatever you like. I will answer to all the
I
above.
love
But
the
I
name
feel like
Laura,
this is a
so I'm
girls'
gonna
chat.
go for
So
that.
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes. So my background is actually in physical therapy. I have a doctorate in physical therapy and I specialize in women's health and pelvic floor PT. But it was through my own journey with cancer, and I just had a lot of health challenges kind of pop up. Major orthopedic surgeries for hip dysplasia, chronic Lyme, dealing with chronic pain. And that's kind of how I learned about essential oils and holistic health and functional nutrition and mindset work and all of these different things. And it's kind of how I stumbled. Like, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, oh, would you become an essential oil educator? I'd be like, no, absolutely not. But it's funny how our life takes a little turn due to the experiences and the, I'm going to call them plot twists that come up along the way that just kind of lead you on this path that you never thought that you would go on. And so now I do doTERRA essential oils full time. I love it. I work from home. I feel like I actually have a bigger impact and can help more people this way. And specifically women. A lot of women will seek me out because of the weird things that I've been through, like a very rare cancerous tumor called desmoid tumor, or hip dysplasia, or I had a hysterectomy 2 summers ago and kind of shared about that very openly. And so people will find me, and it's just nice to know that you're not alone, like going through whatever challenge it is. And so I really want to show other women that you can do work that you're passionate about and that you love. You can work from home, because I was a burned out, stressed out healthcare provider, which I think is kind of what led to getting cancer and like putting me on this other path, but that we can serve and support people without sacrificing your health and your wellness and burning out, and that you can be compensated well for the work that you do. And so when you step into finding what you're passionate about, and we don't know what that is until you try different things and you kind of stumble and figure it out, that's kind of where the secret sauce happens, when you have something that you're passionate about and that brings you joy and that gets you up every day, which I think is just as important to your health as eating a good diet and exercising and all these other things.
Yes, that's so true. I mean, you can have the perfect diet, exercise, sleep, but as you mentioned, which is really very kind of order of the day with men and women, but in particular women being burned out with the jobs that they're doing. And as you mentioned, not having that passion too, because that passion that we have and that whatever with working with different people or the passion for what we do, it does mitigate a lot of stress. Yeah. It does. And I see that passion that you have. And I know I was attracted to the vulnerability and authenticity that you had with the different surgeries that you've had and the obstacles and challenges. That was very attractive to me.
Yeah, I think when we can show up raw and real and authentic in our challenges, it gives people the permission to do the same. And we need to feel that heartbeat connection. I think gone are the days that we're on social media looking for the perfect whatever. It doesn't exist. Right. And so I want to give people permission that, yeah, you don't have to show up camera ready with your makeup on, with a perfect house to do whatever it is that you want to do. You can just do it messy.
Yes. The other thing that I love about your story is that you've overcome it, and now your story, you changed it. You changed, you're no longer a victim. Now you're a hero. And that's a beautiful thing too, when you've overcome an illness, or many, it sounds like, and you found the things that work for you, that stayed in harmony and in alignment with your standards, So you've taken a great example for other people to see they can overcome those things too. And I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something magical about claiming your story and owning your story and realizing that, yeah, oh my gosh, this all happened for me. It's really hard to see that when you're in the trenches and going through the dark nights of the soul. But when you can have a little distance from it and look back and go, man, I wouldn't be the person that I am today if I wouldn't have gone through. Like that built me into who I am. And when you can have some gratitude for it, and then you can, I remember thinking, like, in some of the darkest nights, I did not go through all of this suffering to just suffer in vain. Like, if I can take what I'm learning and help somebody else, be the person that I wish I would have had when I was newly diagnosed with XYZ or going through this thing, then it's worth it. And sometimes I think we may be going through things for our own soul's evolution journey, but also maybe to help other people too. And that can kind of put some purpose through the pain
Yes.
that we were going through.
Yes. Beautifully said. I
Exactly.
completely agree. And that's the whole seeing it instead of a problem or this happening to me, as you mentioned, is happening for me as an opportunity for growth. And as you even mentioned, the bonus is being able to help someone else. That's the bonus, because I know all three of us are passionate about helping others. We're not all about what's in it for us, but helping others. So beautifully said. At what point did you decide that you wanted to immerse yourself into doTERRA and just holistic health and wellness?
I wish I could tell you I was one of those people that just woke up one morning and was like, oh, I want to go on a green juice cleanse, or I just want to take care of my body and all these things. And it was actually through, deep down when I graduated PT school and I was working in the clinic, and there were so many things that we could say, like unethical stuff was going on. I was treating 25 patients a day. It was ridiculous. Like there were so many things that I just couldn't keep up with at all. I felt like I was on this hamster wheel. And I remember thinking, I went to school for all these years and got my doctorate and did this. And like, this is my life. And there was no time for self-care. There was no time for rest. There was, it's never 40 hours. It's more than that. Then you got paperwork, and then your weekends are to clean and cook and do the laundry and grocery shop. And then you just start all over. But I couldn't let go of it because it was my identity. Like, who was I?
Yes.
If I wasn't Dr. Laura, the physical therapist, like I'd put all this time, energy into that. But I'd had the whispers, my body was whispering, and I just ignored it and did what I like, just shove it down and keep going, right? Like push through. And what happened was I got cancer, and I had a softball sized tumor show up in my abdominal wall, and it was surgically removed, and they put mesh in, and then the mesh herniated, and they put more mesh in, and then it herniated again. And I found a specialist in Dallas, and he said, we need to remove all this synthetic mesh and release the fascia in your obliques and move your muscle to close this giant hernia that you have. And he said, you cannot work for a year as a physical therapist. Like, you've already had 2 hernias. You can't lift anything over 5 pounds. You can't bend over, like put me on all these restrictions. And I remember thinking, like, at first when he said, like, you can't work as a PT for a year, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like, who am I? What's happening? And then the second thought that came in was peace for, oh my goodness, my body can finally have the time that I need to heal right now. Like, and so the universe forced me out of that situation. It was like, you're not listening. So we're just going to have you exit stage left right now. And we're going to force you into this situation. And it was one of those things where I finally got to kind of figure out, and I freaked out. I had a whole identity crisis of, who am I if I'm not a PT? Oh my gosh, like, what is my worth if I'm not bringing in income, making money? Okay, now I'm healing from this big surgery. And I took a 1-year training in women's health and functional nutrition coaching. And essential oils also kind of came into my life. And I thought, I really love serving and supporting people. And for the first time ever, I had complete control of my schedule. The clinic wasn't booking things, other people, that was powerful for me. I didn't know that that was a vital need that I needed to have. And I think if you're a sensitive soul or an empath or someone who just like feels things very strongly, we need that flexibility in our life, especially for our women's hormones. We're not set up to grind 9 to 5 like the men do. Like, it's just not set up. And so this was something of, oh my goodness, you mean I can make my own schedule and I can help people, and I can also schedule time for my own self-care and health and healing. Like, this is magical. And again, nothing that I would have picked for myself, because I wanted everything to be safe, go to school, get a degree, work it, work on your retirement, do all the things that you're supposed to do. But that was killing me, that life track. And so it's funny how these things come up into your life and cause you to pivot. and allow you to be open to other possibilities that maybe you didn't know existed before.
Yes, that's so true. You brought up something really crucial, and that was identity. Who am I? And that's everything, because identity drives behaviors. So even though your body was giving you all these warnings and hints that, man, this is too much, but because your identity, it was wrapped up in what you were doing, it just kept you on that trajectory. So you being forced, like a forced stop, a forced quit like that, enabled you to stop and reflect on who you are at your core, which is not some type of doctor status, any of that. You're way more than that. You're a beautiful person, and you are entitled and need to be able to have that time to be able to heal, but then also have time for self-care and then helping others, as you mentioned, on a schedule that works with all of your rhythms that we have. Because everything just seems to be set up against our rhythms. And right there, that's just a recipe for disaster and dismantling. But I can so relate to having identity wrapped up in what is expected, the unrealistic expectations that are thrust upon women, superimposed upon us. What type of income? What is your status? What is this? I mean, you have to do everything and be the best at it.
And do it perfectly. And do it in high heels.
Exactly. Yes. I was just thinking Ginger Rogers.
That's right.
And do it backwards.
Yes, exactly. And then women are, kind of pit against each other, unfortunately. And we're all about community. That's how we function the best, is as a community, not isolated. Because it was very isolating, being on that hamster wheel, as you mentioned, and very stressful. So I'm really glad. I'm sorry that you went through that, but the same token, I mean, you just came out of this so much better because of this. I mean, who knows, if that hadn't happened, you may be still on that hamster wheel, exhausted mentally, emotionally, physically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes the only time we rest is when we're forced. Like when an illness takes over, and then we realize, wait, I was not even on the list of care. You put everybody else on there, and then you're like, wait, I need, to start exercising. I need to start, having a slow morning so I can actually just breathe and, regroup, and journal or whatever. And all those things take a play in that healing. And I was thinking about, sometimes we have to be covered in the manure to sprout, It's like you blossomed, but you had to have all that pressure and all the things come at you, and you found your way through it, and now you blossomed. And I feel like that's a great part of your story too. So we have another question. What's the biggest misconception people have about your line of work that you're doing now?
I love this question so much. The MLMs are a pyramid scheme. That they're icky, that they're gross, that, I would never do something like that. And I find it fascinating because, one, pyramid schemes are illegal. It's when you're not even selling a real product. That's not a thing. Two, the culture of doTERRA is totally different than anything else that I have ever experienced there, of like heart-to-heart centered people. And three, I think most people are stuck in a pyramid scheme where you're the working person here, and then we've got management, and we've got the CEO, and you're never going to make it to the top. And what I like about social selling, whatever you want to call it, MLM, social selling, direct sales, network marketing, is there were times working as a PT, that I'm never going to make more than the CEO of the hospital or the owner of the clinic. There were times as a PT that I realized that I was not getting paid as much as a male physical therapist with the same level of experience and training. And that was just maddening to me. And I liked the idea that there was a system where I could get paid for the work that I do, and there wasn't going to be a glass ceiling that I hit. And it's something that, like we were talking about, the Mean Girls is definitely a real thing, but this is a system where when people under you succeed, you succeed. Like everybody succeeds. It's not like we're competing with this one person for a promotion or a thing. Like, oh my gosh, as the people under you do well and you're supporting them, you do well. Like we all kind of rise together. And I see so much fear around that. And so I'm kind of challenging people to question those beliefs or what you thought. And usually somebody had maybe a bad experience somewhere else. And I get that. If you've been burned, trust levels are probably low. But I challenge you to go, what if this is actually fun? What if we can do this, like hold the ick? What if your voice comes out? Because what I found through this work is I was a very shy, very scared, hated public speaking, wanted to not be seen. And this work kind of helped me to overcome a whole lot of fears and find my voice. A lot of women, especially I think with autoimmune issues, we're not able to speak our truth or feel safe speaking our truth or showing up or being seen. And even like travel, I was terrified of international travel. And because of this work, I've been to Kenya, I've been to Bulgaria, I've been to Prague. Like it pushed me out of my comfort zone in so many ways. But I think that's also what allows you to kind of blossom and like figure out who the heck you are. And nothing quite does that, like some personal development, especially sales where you are getting rejected. Like it happens. It does something to you. It made me grow into a better version of myself that other lines of work didn't. And so I just think that's a big misconception that I wish I could help people understand that, no, this might actually be an avenue for growth, a vehicle for growth to figure out what you really want to do. And it's a tool. Like doTERRA isn't my identity. It isn't who I am. It's a tool. It's a part of my brand. Yes. And that's powerful.
It is. I know for myself, and Martha, you can chime in on this, but MLM, I've had a lot of bad experiences with MLM. And I think sometimes that's what people are going by, past experiences. You get burned by something, you touch a hot stove, and it's like, ugh, I don't want to touch that again. And a lot of it had to do with the air, the energy of the company. And it's kind of been similar across the board. There's kind of this criteria and they fit it. Whereas I do notice with doTERRA, it is different. And there was another essential oil company, I'm not going to name who they were, back in the 90s and early 2000s. I was so deeply into it. I was I forgot what they called it at the time, but, I sold it and was really into it. And they were great oils, but there was this cult type air to it that I didn't care for. And it really got culty at the end when I stopped doing it. Great products, like I said, but doTERRA is a little different. And that's why I kind of stuck with it. First of all, I had prayed about what route of essential oils to go with, because I've used so many different brands over the years and have gotten not so good results. And I know I've studied essential oils long enough to know that they are very powerful and therapeutic, but you have to use the right type. They have to be sourced in a particular way, and you have to be able to trust the sourcing. So not only did I notice doTERRA is a reputable company, but just the air and energy about it is important to me too, what they represent, what they are all about. So what you explained, I can definitely relate to because of that. I love it. I mean, that's the oils I definitely always recommend to people too. Martha, did you want to say anything?
I was just going to say, I've had over the years a few friends who've sold doTERRA and they love it. They love the company. So I always felt good about that because it's trusted by people I trust.
Yeah.
the other aspect of what you're doing, see, I'm kind of an entrepreneur, so I wouldn't mind doing that if I had one more level to open up and have time for. I would love it because I feel like having, I've bought essential oils that were not doTERRA, and I was like, this is actually a fragrance oil. Does this company not have their product tested? I had to message them. I said, you cannot sell this as an essential oil. This is a fragrance oil. Do you not have your data sheets? Because if I order from a company that's not known, I ask for data sheets, and then they give you what the scientists have found as far as components that are, at the right levels, the way if it's distilled properly, because I don't want any chemicals,
Right.
And
Yeah.
I just felt like what you're doing, people trust it, and that's the valid part of it, because you're not going to be selling them junk. It's and online the market is glutted, so you need to find a brand that really works. The efficacy is so important because I study bacteria, skin bacteria, all sorts of science facets, and I look at worldwide research on essential oils. So I can tell you, when you tell me an oil, I'll tell you, okay, it's going to kill this bacteria. That's how much I know about it. But, I told Heather, I want to buy some of your oils, because I really want to try them. I'm not in the business of selling oils right now, but I do make natural products. And I think essential oils are absolutely a key. They're a key in my health. I've used them on my skin for, I don't want to say how many, since I was in my 40s. So more than 2 years.
And you look lovely.
But yes, I'm a fan of doTERRA, and I'm going to learn more about it from Heather, because she's my go-to girl,
Yeah, and Martha has made formulas for using essential oils that she's put together. She's been a genius with that. She brought over to me some essential oil compilations that she's made that's been amazing, and she's done for others as well. So yeah, she's
That's
really
incredible.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
I've designed one for bladder frequency and overactive bladder, and it's an external use product, and it works amazing. So yes, but that's the science part of it,
Yes.
I love that.
Figure out what
my pelvic floor PT loves that. I'm like, oh,
let me know
all about it.
No, but it's been a very good journey for me to learn about essential oils. So
yeah.
All right. So I'll say this, what advantages, did we do that one? No.
I don't think so.
What motivates you and keeps you going? How's that for a good question?
Yeah. I have an interesting thought on that. It's discipline. I think motivation's fleeting. You can pick something to motivate you, and it's going to work temporarily until it doesn't. And so I really believe that you have to kind of find and build that discipline muscle over time. And discipline is what is going to create those miracles in your life of doing what you know you should do, especially when you don't want to do it. And rinse, water, repeat, right? Like just do it over and over again. I tell people, like with weightlifting, I'm a really big advocate that women should be picking up weights and weight training. It is so important for our bone health, our hormonal health, our function later in life. And I get that it's scary and that we haven't been taught to do that as girls. I was very intimidated. I started weightlifting about 3 years ago, and it was hard for me to walk into the gym and go to the weightlifting section with all the big bulky guys, because all the women are just on the cardio machines and like nobody crosses that line and goes in there, and you feel very much like a fish out of water and you don't know what the heck you're doing. And it was one of those things that I just had to force myself to go. And again, getting uncomfortable, doing hard things. We feel like we want to puke, but we can go and lift with the boys and you won't die. And after you do that for several weeks, it really took me about 9 weeks of consistent weight training before I felt safer in the weight room, and where it kind of felt like, oh, I belong. And now I think it's a superpower as a woman that I can just walk in. I'm not phased. I go pick up my weights and I just do my thing like a boss. And it takes a while to like get to that place, but
Yes.
there's a power in there, and people just assume like, oh, you must love it. I'm like, no, I don't love it. Do you love brushing your teeth? No. Are you like, oh, I just love brushing my teeth, but you do it twice a day? Like, that's kind of how I look at weight training. Like, I don't love it. I love the results. I love how I feel
Yes.
afterwards. So the
Yes.
hardest part is just getting your booty to the gym. Like, if you could just
Right.
get there, then I'm like, well, I'm here. Might as well
That's
pick up the weight and do something.
Yeah, and I love this. I love that you mentioned that, because I've had people tell me that too, where I don't like working out. You like working out. Who said I like working out? You assume that. I just like with my house, I clean my house every week. I'm not like, oh, yay, I get to clean my house today when I get out of bed. No, but what I love is the after result. That's what I love. That's when the dopamine is released. When we get that sense of accomplishment, when we, accomplish those micro goals throughout the day. And working out is one of those micro goals that we can check off, and we get that release of dopamine. That's what we're looking for, is that natural dopamine. So you're right. And I remember back in the 90s, it was all about cardio. Now it's more about weights. But back then, yes, I felt good that I worked out. But there's something about doing, deep squats, lifting those heavier weights. Just there's something about that. And then bumping up. Oh, I did it. Bumping up again and weight. And it's like you feel really empowered. I can do this, so I can do anything.
It builds that confidence.
Very motivating, isn't it?
It's good.
So is. And
I love your
women,
pictures.
We're not taught.
Pardon me?
Oh, I was just going to say, as women, I don't think we're taught to be strong.
Right.
And to think of ourselves as strong and powerful and capable. And I think we're kind of taught, be little, be a good girl, sit in the corner, like, don't be too loud, like all these things. And so there's something kind of rebellious about going to the gym and picking up weights and hanging out with the boys and doing the things.
I love it. Now, just to what you just said, I was thinking, but men, the way sometimes we're treated, they force us to be so strong, right? Because of, the challenges they place, or, I think about, you ask for help and they're like, what? But they ask you for help, you're instantly helping, right? Like, wait, you meant like 5 minutes ago and you just asked me, So it's a different, I don't know, I don't want to say double standard, but we're strong mentally, we're strong emotionally. We do have our vulnerable times, and our cycle isn't, it changes.
Yes.
Physically, we need to keep our strength, because they say every 10 years, your muscles go down like 36%. So if you're not keeping it up, you can build it up pretty quick, even after 10 years. But I mean, when I had my son, it was hard to get back into the routine. And I remember when I started lifting weights, he would take the 2 remotes for the TV, and it was adorable. He was like 2 years old, and I was like,
they're watching you
ever,
teach them young. I love that.
Yeah, that is so awesome. I imagine that. It's so cute.
And I think there's something powerful about it too, of like releasing anger.
Yes,
I wish more women could just like get the anger out, because we suppress it. We just and then it'll explode later.
It's true.
Like, pick up some weights and move heavy stuff. Go and hit a bag. I think if little girls were taught how to properly release anger, like if they could in a safe way, break some stuff or go punch a bag or do something, I think we'd have a lot less health issues.
It's true. It's true. And that's that whole somatic part, with the body. Intense emotions get released through movement.
Yeah.
And then picking up an empowering weight and doing that, it just, you're right. Because I'll find within the first 15, 20 minutes of my workout, I have these conversations and this anger stuff coming. I'm like, what is this about? I'm like, I'm just going to go with it. And it's just flowing out. And by the end of the workout, I feel good. I feel like I released it. I let it go. And it just moved out. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's so true. It's so true. It's a great feeling.
It's therapeutic.
It is. So I just wanted to just clarify for me, because we talked, about doTERRA oils. But what is the difference between using doTERRA oils versus other brands? I just wanted to be clear on that.
I love this question. I'm glad you brought this up. I think it comes down to purity, quality of the oils, co-impact sourcing, which is a big one. And we can speak to all of these, the people, like the culture, the energy. doTERRA is a science-based company, and they have what we call pharmaceutical grade lavender essential oil. And I did a whole, for all the nerdy people like me, I love the research. I love the science. So I'm like, this is amazing. But I did a whole video on YouTube that you can find if you search Dr. Laura Richie pharmaceutical grade lavender. And it goes into detail and gives you all the information about how they took, again, most of the essential oils on the market are adulterated. There's not even real, it's what Martha was talking about. There's synthetic fragrance. I wouldn't even call that an essential oil. When they actually go and test them, there's not even real lavender in there. It's like, and they took lavender oils that were marketed as safe for internal use, because that's kind of the gold standard. A lot of the stuff that you find on Amazon or wherever, you pick it up and there's all these warnings on the back and it says not for topical use, not for internal use, blah, blah, blah. And put that down and run away. Like that is a synthetic fragrance that's like a candle or an air freshener or a plug-in, or like, we don't want that stuff in our home. And the big difference with that. So anyways, when they tested that, those that said they were safe for internal use, 2/3 of it were like garbage. It wasn't even lavender. There's nobody regulating this. The quality and purity, they can write whatever the heck they want on that bottle and boop, slap a label on it. And it's harmful. Like, to me, that's criminal. Like, come on. Like, we need to be authentic in what we're advertising, what we're doing. And it's really hard because the burden's left on the consumer to try to decipher all of this. Like, I love Martha was like, ask for the data, ask for the testing, ask for the sheets. And that's something that's really cool that doTERRA offers is source2you.com. There's a code on the bottom of your bottle of oil, and you can type it in and it will give you the third-party lab testing for your batch of oil, which is so cool because you can actually see the science and see the testing. So the testing and the purity is huge. And there's nobody governing it. There's no gold standard. So doTERRA had to create that, which is what they called their certified pure tested grade essential oils. But a lot of that goes back to co-impact sourcing. So doTERRA sources their plants where they get their essential oils from areas of the world where they're designed to thrive. Like our lavender and rose come from Bulgaria. Our tea tree and geranium come from Kenya. And I'm honored that I got to go on these trips and see it firsthand and meet the farmers and meet their families. And they partner directly with the farmers. They don't go and buy up the farms. They don't go and have middlemen and brokers and things where stuff can get misconstrued through all of that. They partner with the farmers and you get to meet them and see. And some people were asking, we were just at a farm in Oregon where we source peppermint oil this past summer. And they were saying, we don't, like, some people are like, oh, doTERRA, that's the expensive brand. You know, why is your oils a little bit more pricey? And she was saying, we don't spray any pesticides, any chemicals, nothing on our peppermint plants, which means we are weeding all of that by hand. Like, and it was a 5-year or 5th generation farm that they do. And it was so cute because they have a little boy too, and he's going to be a farmer, but like, and they go and pull everything by hand, like the amount of work that's involved. And I got to work in Kenya in the tea tree farm. Those Kenyan women, they are strong. They're like putting stuff in wheelbarrows, doing this stuff. I'm like, people don't understand the amount of physical labor that goes into these things, but also to make sure that your oil is pure from where it is grown, because temperature, time of day, humidity, harvesting, all of that affects the chemical constituents of the plants, to even sometimes like when they get it to the distillery, the time that it takes to distill, all of that goes back into this. And so for me, there was a farmer that I met in Kenya, Gladys, and her husband had passed away and she had 4 children. And she was wondering, how am I going to send them to school? How am I going to do this? And she became a farmer for doTERRA. And she said, doTERRA completely changed my life. I'm able to send my kids to school. I'm paid on time. I'm paid way more than fair trade. Like, it was, she was so grateful. And with doTERRA's Healing Hands Foundation, they came into the area. They provided clean water, healthcare clinics, schools where little girls could go to school with little boys. Like, I believe that when we purchase something, there's an energetic exchange there. And so that was something that, like tugged at my heartstrings. Like, I can't pick up a bottle of tea tree oil and not think of her. And we're getting this gift of the beautiful essential oils that are pure, that are safe, that don't have heavy metals or weird stuff in them. But we're also helping farmers and people like Gladys and her children. And it's, to me, it's kind of this beautiful system of it's good for everybody.
Right.
And it's helping all of us in different ways. So that's, and I also think at the end of the day, like, there's other good brands out there. I think you have to go with who you trust, who you feel a connection with, and where are you going to get education and support?
Yes.
Like, you can't call up the guy at the health food store, Amazon or whatever, and say, hey, like, I have this question. Like, where are you going to go to actually get support with that? And that is really, really important too. I feel like, again, people have such fear of like social selling, but what we offer is a VIP experience to where we support you with getting that oil. We hop on a call with you, make sure that you feel comfortable. You can text me if you've got questions about your oils. Like, all of that's really valuable too.
And I can vouch for that because when I have ordered my oils through you, you have gotten on, we've done calls together where you're helping me with the education part. Also, I've even texted you with questions about oils for my grandchild. And you helped me. I was saying, well, it might take her a day or two to get back to me. I remember I was telling my daughter-in-law that, boom, within 5 minutes, I was like, wow, wow. And I have to say, this was on a weekend too, by the way. So this is the type of VIP service that you're talking about that you get. That's really important. So for me, I have a tell with oils that I figured out. I get nauseated or hot flashes if it's no good. I figured this out. Yeah, and that right there, that hasn't happened with each of the doTERRA because I actually literally went and smelled all of them and used them all within 2 or 3 days. And I was very skeptical about it. You can ask my family. I'm like, I'm sending this back if this doesn't pass my body test.
The body knows.
Very sensitive. Very sensitive. And in particular, for some reason with lavender, I've tried several brands this past year. I will get nauseated when I use it. It's really weird. I'll get this nausea that happens. So, and I haven't experienced that with doTERRA. So once I'm into something, I'm into it. And I don't normally like selling things, but once I, really believe in it and I see it, then I'm all in. So
I was gonna say, I know Heather, and she won't sell it if she doesn't believe 100% in the value. I'm the same way. So don't start me on doTERRA. I'll probably start like talking about it everywhere. But,
I'll tell you, I swore I was never going to sell this. I was like,
really?
No, that's nice. I'm just going to use the essential oils for myself. And for like, I flat out told the person, I was like, look, I'm not going to. Like, don't ask me. Yeah. I'm not going to. So never say never. But isn't that the truth? We don't want to be selling something that we're not passionate about, that we have to be a believer in it and actually use it. I think that's so important. And I also tell people essential oils aren't a magic bullet. It's a tool. It's a tool that we can use in our home to help us. And I do believe there's a time and place to see a doctor. There's a time and place for a medication. If we have something that's safe that we can use, awesome. But it's a tool. So I also am totally honest with people with that too, of like, it's not a magic bullet. If you find a magic bullet, let me know. But it's something that's helped support me along my journey.
That's right.
And they've been around for thousands of years, essential oils, which a lot of people don't realize. And they do have scientific research to validate what they actually do, because they work, with your olfactory bulb, which is 4 cells from the brain. So it's the fastest it gets into your whole system in 20 minutes. So the way they work with your body to heal is on more levels than science can even explain. you know? And
Yes.
I feel like
Yes.
when I researched it, I thought, you know, you look at a flower and they're just gorgeous. Then you hold up
Yes.
like a rose and you're like, wow, like how did this happen? I feel it's kind of God's signature on the things,
Mm,
Yes.
you
yeah.
know, it's like an energetic signature for our benefit, you know, so we could enjoy life, so we could feel better, you know, we could have energy. I use oils on my feet at night. The next day, I'm jumping out of bed, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm ready to go. So I mean,
Yeah.
I believe in them. I'm like Heather. I have a thermostat in my brain. It's a barometer. I get a headache if it's not good.
Yeah.
Instantly,
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is like garbage, you know, and go wait in line at Amazon, you know. But I don't buy them anymore, like from that. So I'm gonna figure this out because I really want to try your guys's. I feel like it's good. It sounds so good. I love the way that you're saying, you know, that ripple effect of how you're helping farmers, you're helping, you know, countries that
Yes.
are, I'll call them developing countries that really need
Yes.
support, you know. I mean, we're kind of
Yes.
spoiled in this country, so many options, but
That's so
I
true.
also think it's nice to have one company that's their focus. You know,
Yes.
they're
Yes.
not doing like, I don't know, they might have, you know, cleansing, cleaning and healthcare, skincare or whatever, and it's
Right.
all related to essential oils. So I really
Right.
appreciate that.
Yes. Like that's what we do really, really well. The go-to of essential oils. Like that is our swim lane. Like I've had some people say, I wish we sold makeup. And I'm like, I hope we never sell
Yeah.
makeup because
Yeah.
like let's focus
Yeah.
on the thing that we do really,
That's
really
right.
well. And we
Very
do
good.
essential oils really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And I love that too. I find people kind of go off the rails when they do that. They get into too many things, too many eggs in one basket. Just focus on what you specialize in, do it well, be at the top of the market, and there you go. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what advice would you give others that are struggling with an area of mental, emotional, or physical health?
Get help. Get help.
Yeah.
Whether that's find a therapist, find a
Yes.
coach, get someone you can be accountable to. But I think it's really, really important to talk to somebody and
Yes.
ask for help and be able to receive help and take it one day at a time.
Yes.
Just because we're going through a really challenging thing or a struggle or a challenging day does not mean that we have a horrible life.
That's right.
And that we really, what I have found to be the secret sauce of healing is self compassion. We can
Yes.
offer everybody else compassion. We can see the humanness in
Yes.
somebody else. And can we offer that to ourselves? Can you recognize your own humanness there? Can
Mm.
you recognize that you're a divine being? Can you show yourself some grace? Can you recognize that we all mess up, that things happen, and show yourself some grace or show your body some grace with whatever's going on? Like that
Yes.
has been so key. And so, it took me until I was 40 years old to start offering myself some self-compassion. But
Yes.
I really feel like that's the thing that a lot of us, I know I was missing in that. And
Mhm.
we all, I wish everybody had the all the privilege, the finances, the availability to go to therapy. I think we would all be so much better if we like went to therapy, saw a therapist, worked with somebody. But I just find if you want to see growth in an area of your life, hire a coach. Find somebody to
Mhm.
work with, find somebody who's been there, done that, because things will get tough and you'll want to
That's right.
quit and you'll want to give up. And when you have somebody and work with people who understand that. When I was looking for a therapist, one of the questions that I asked them was, do you have a therapist? Have you been in
Yes.
therapy? I want to know that that person knows what it's like to sit on the chair on the other side of the table and
Yeah.
be in the hot seat and do that. Like my coach, my personal trainer, Kirsten, I love her. She's amazing. She has a coach. Like coaches need coaches. We all need
That's
help.
right. That's
So I
right.
want to know that my coach has also walked the walk and done the
That's
work
right.
too.
That's right. And they continually do that because, as a health and life coach, I see a therapist and I work with different people. And when I'm kind of outgrow that particular area, I move on to the next thing and the next thing. And there's always room for growth. I completely agree. It's scary to me when I hear someone thinking that they don't need help or have room to grow. I'm like, I don't know if this is my tribe. If you could be part of my, that's a bit scary because we all have room for improvement and growth. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, and one thing, having that self-compassion is such a key because, I don't know if somebody said this or if it was on a podcast, they said to name that voice in your head something to get out of there, because sometimes we are critical of ourselves or we're willing to just throw in the towel, but we have to rise above that moment because those moments come frequently.
Yes.
And of course we all know healing isn't, it's not just straight up. There's a lot of ups and downs, So if you take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, just say, I've still taken 1 step forward, and then you can keep moving forward. You're not going to give up on yourself and get help. Heather and I have done somatic work. We also use the oils and, and changing nutritional needs, recognizing those things. It's all a good, valid, everything's valid on that regard. And even reading certain books that help when you can see other people who've dealt with what you're dealing with, not everyone has resources for therapy. You can see your medical doctor, see if your insurance does cover it, because sometimes you can find that avenue. So very good. Excellent.
Yeah. So well said.
And so where can people find you to sign up to work with you or for help with essential oils and wellness products?
Oh my goodness. I tell people I'm in all the places, but I'm the most fun on Instagram. So on Instagram, I'm at Dr. Laura Ricci. It's just DrLauraRicci. But you can also find me on Facebook by searching Dr. Laura Ricci. I'm on YouTube. You can also shoot me an email. It's Women's Health Coach, WOMENS, Women's Health Coach @gmail.com too. But please reach out. I would love to support you. Like, come along for the journey. If you're here for the messy and the real and the authentic and the ups and downs and how we actually use these tools in our everyday life, I tell people, come follow us on Instagram. You'll see my husband, Mark. We dance. We're silly. We try to bring a little bit of joy and a little bit of fun.
Things that you were today, that was adorable.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say.
Yes.
We have a little, it's so fun. Like, we just make it fun. Like, when I was a kid, and this is also key to healing, is finding out what you love to do as a little kid. And as a little girl, I love to sing and dance and perform. And me and my best friend and my sister, we would make little videos. And we would do like sock puppet videos or just we were entertainers. And Instagram has kind of allowed me to step into being a little kid again and creating and making funny videos or things. And it brings me so much joy. And so I love when people are like, if I can put a smile on your face, if I can make you smile, have a little bit of a better day, then goal achieved.
Yes. And I could see that too from your Instagram. I love it. It makes me laugh because I actually saw it right before I got on here. You do come up with some original ideas. You really do. They're really good.
Oh, thank you. It's become a platform to allow my inner child to play a little bit and come out and say hello.
That's smart.
And
that's important because Brene Brown talks about play. As adults, we don't do that anymore. And sometimes when people think about play, they think about drinking alcohol and doing other things. No, actual play, like what you're describing, that you could see on your social media, which is really important. And it's something that I'm trying to get myself to do on social media. I've gotten myself kind of stuck in a mold, and I want to start doing. My daughter-in-law has really been working with me and trying to give me, hey, let's try some other stuff. Just being me. There's a lot of fun things that I know I can do, and I think once I do that, break out of that mold, I think I'll be doing it more. But I'm going to continue to watch yours, and it's going to give me courage to do that.
Yeah. I want to celebrate you.
You're very
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's
and I feel like, I don't know. I hate it when people get critical of any YouTuber or any Instagram person with content, because I feel like they're the ones who aren't out there. They don't realize what it takes to be out there, you know?
That's
So
right.
I feel like you graduate to a point where you're like, I don't really care what you think. This is for the people who do want it, you know? And that's where
That's
you have to
right.
separate your identity and be that person, you know, be the one you were born to
Yes.
be.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
it.
I love that so much. I got a comment today on the video. So the video that you were saying, like, oh, that was fun. Somebody commented on it today and said something like, there's still time to delete this. It was like a mean comment. And I'm always curious. I clicked on the person's account. Of course, there's not a real picture of a
Right.
face or a human being or anything, and no reels. Like they haven't. And I was like, you're not in the arena. Pfft, I'm not taking
Yeah,
feedback from you. Like,
that's
come back
right.
when you've
That's
gotten,
right.
what is that Brene Brown quote? Like, if you're not in the arena getting your butt kicked on a regular basis, I'm not interested in your
That's
feedback.
right. That's
Very
right.
good. Yes.
That's so true. That is so true. Do you have any last words or thoughts that you'd like to share for the audience to know?
Oh my goodness. I think if I was going to tell women one thing today, like something that I needed to hear a lot, it's you're enough right now, right in this moment. It doesn't matter what you do, what you don't do, if you hit the goal, if you don't, like just you being here and showing up and your presence is enough. And to snowball a little bit on what Heather said, I was doing some research about chronic pain. And if anybody out there is struggling with chronic pain, the book called The Way Out by Alan Gordon is fantastic. But learning about neuroplastic pain, and one of the things that it recommends is to spend 4 to 5 hours a week in play, doing something that is non-productive, that is not like just for fun. And you know that you're having fun because if you watch a little kid play, they have no concept of time. They do something
Right.
and play and they're just in it until it's not fun anymore. And then they move on to the next thing.
Yes.
And I think women especially, we need that. So I would encourage you, like, know your worth, just step into that, show yourself some more self-compassion, because I feel like we all need a heavy dose of that, and go and play. Whether that take the ceramics class, go do the dance class, go do the whatever it is. And like, these are some things, some critical things that I think outside of, you know, weight training and getting sleep and moving your body and eating good, like the more joy, the more fun, the more pleasure that we can have doing things, like that's the sweet spot. That's where I see a lot of miracles come in.
Yeah, well said. Beautifully said.
Love it.
Martha, do you have any last thoughts?
Just what a pleasure to meet you today. I know I'm speaking for Heather too. She knows you, but I mean, just for me to get a glimpse into your life. I love that your husband participates in those, so you can give him like a props from us, you know, that he gets in there, because I don't know if I'd have to send my husband a check to get him to do a video.
My husband is total golden retriever vibes. He really,
all right,
he's
well,
just
we
a happy
had a
soul.
golden, and we're kind of golden retriever vibe, but he's not. He doesn't. He has his little things that he watches, you know, his own podcast that he's into. He's not interested in putting himself. He has, you know, he has very good take on a lot of things, but he's not interested in representing right now. So maybe
that's
someday.
okay.
But I'm very like honored, and I feel like it's awesome. I love following you. I've learned a little bit already from your post yesterday, the more serious ones that you posted about Brave Girl and stuff.
Yeah.
So people need to check out Dr. Laura Ricci. Check out those posts, because I feel like there's a good message in there for women to be strong, to be courageous, not to feel.
Oh, we lost her.
You know,
it was so sweet.
Yeah, no,
She's back.
That's where I'm at with you. So way to go.
Oh, awesome. Beautifully said, Martha. And you know, from the first time I met you, Laura, how many years ago was that? Maybe around 6 years ago. I just was blown away. I really was. And I was so glad. I felt like the timing that God put you in my life was, it had to have been him. And then there a few years went by, and then we got together, so to speak, and it's been amazing. It really has been amazing. And I just feel so inspired by you and your work, because it is from a place, it's from your heart. And I can feel that. I could feel that. I would never, because MLMs have such bad vibes sometimes, I would never know that you were part in doing MLM, because what you do is based on your passion and from your heart. And it's
Mm.
empathy and compassion and truth and honesty. So I really appreciate that. And I think I foremost really appreciate your courage, from what you've overcome with obstacles and cancer, as well as going against the norms of what society expects a woman to do with being a doctor of physical therapy. And now, stepping over into the world of essential oils and helping people that way. I love how you break down those barriers and you show us that it can be done. It's just very empowering. So I really appreciate your message of self-compassion. You're enough, you're worthy, and is done in such a community type setting, not woman against woman in a competitive way, because I despise that. It's disgusting. But in a way of, community. We're doing this together. I love
Mm.
that. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And thank you so much for coming on our podcast.
Oh my gosh, thank you both so much. It's such a joy. You are both such a light. I see how you create this safe community for women and are uplifting other women. And I'm honored to be a part of it. Thanks for letting me come and hang out with you both.
Oh, yes, we had
Our
a great
pleasure.
time. Thank you. So this wraps up today's episode. We got to meet a doctor of physical therapy who specializes in women's health and pelvic floor rehabilitation. She's certified health and wellness coach and essential oil educator and leader with doTERRA essential oils. And we got to learn about really good essential oils and what to look for. She shared her wisdom and insights into health and wellness, and it can help all of us, reach our goals and be inspired and have the courage to come back from obstacles and roadblocks. So always remember that the journey of emotional mastery is just that, a journey. And by understanding the science of our brains, implementing these tools that we come across, we can navigate our emotions with grace and resilience. If you find you need more support or need one-on-one coaching, please visit my website and fill out the contact info at heathermhewett.com. And if you found this episode enlightening, please share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to subscribe